Hello there guys and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it is time for me to welcome you to yet another episode of our Leicester City career mode here on FIFA 16, and it is now time for the business end of the season. We're well into the month of March. Today we'll be finishing up March and then moving into April for next episode, where we'll only have I think 5 more games of the Barclays Premier League or 6 more games of the BPL season, so it's very much getting into the business end of the season. We've got to catch up Chelsea. We're sitting 5 points behind them. You see there in the background we'll be playing 3 BPL games and an FA Cup tie this episode. But for last episode, you guys voted that Pione Sisto was the player of the episode. Now that was as when I recorded. That may have changed by now, but Pione Sisto was winning when I recorded this episode, so he will play every single game in this episode, and he will start every single game of this episode, and I'll make sure that actually happens, unlike last episode. Luis Suarez, though, is back in action after his week-long hamstring injury, so he's back for this FA Cup tie against Tottenham Hotspur, a pretty difficult one. We've got some pretty difficult games overall this episode, but Pione Sisto there starting, and Domenico Berardi is the other winger. Into the 13th minute then of this game, and Luis Suarez has won a free kick there after being brought down by Toby Alderweireld. Luis Suarez coming back from that injury. Hopefully he's in good form. We need him in this game. He's going to actually step up, dust himself down, and take this free kick himself. Can he get it over the wall? Can he put it in the top bins? He steps up and takes it, and what a free kick from Luis Suarez into the top corner. That is incredible from the Uruguayan striker. That is the class that we paid all that money for and that we traded Paulo Dybala for. A wonderful free kick. I love the technique as well. Over the wall, into the top corner. The wall perhaps will rue the fact they didn't jump. And perhaps Michel Vorm there in the Tottenham goal will rue that fact as well. It's the 20th minute. Nicolas Nkulu now has won the ball back, giving it to Danny Drinkwater. Kante now over the top towards Suarez again. Can he double his tally? Yes, he can. It's another wonderful goal from Luis Suarez to make it 2-0, and it's 2 goals in a space of 7 minutes for the Uruguayan striker. And this one is an absolutely wonderful goal, taking the ball down on his chest and volleying it into the top corner. But that is such a wonderful finish from Luis Suarez, right into the top corner, and he's now on a hat-trick. What a 7 minutes he has had. Tottenham, though, trying to get back into this game. Josh Onomah finding Harry Kane, and he goes for the audacious chip. And it's a simple save from Luis Suarez in the end. Up the other end, this has been a wonderfully end-to-end game. It's fallen to Embolo, who's put the ball in, but he was in an offside position, and he knows that the flag's up on the far side. It won't count. It still remains 2-0, but even then, Luis Suarez was the man making that happen, and it's Suarez on the ball again. Pione Sisto's won the ball back as the Dane. Suarez cutting back, going past the Tottenham defenders, now cutting into the box, and it's a save from Michel Vorm, but this is the Luis Suarez show. This is a masterclass from the Uruguayan striker into the second half, and Tottenham have managed to bridge the momentum. DeAndre Yedlin cutting into the box, and DeAndre Yedlin has scored. And it's a difficult one to defend because when the AI get into the box, it's very, very easy to bring them down for a penalty. Fukurata Masuaku just not with the agility really to stay with Yedlin, and I was a bit too tentative when it came to Antonio Rudiger, so my fault, and Tottenham through again. And Loris Karius, not exactly looking great there, not covering himself in much glory. Thankfully, though, Ryan Mason blazes wide. Now we've got to bridge the momentum that Tottenham have gained. Otherwise, we're going to concede an equaliser. Thankfully, we managed to have done so. By the looks of things, Zahovic there forcing a save out of Michel Vorm. They're trying to extend our lead back to 2 goals, but that is the way the game ends. Thankfully, we didn't quite capitulate, although it looked as if we could have done there after that 2-0 lead that we had. Tottenham getting back in the game and then almost scoring an equaliser, but Luis Suarez, unsurprisingly man of the match. One of the greatest performances of this series ever. One of the greatest performances on this channel ever. Absolutely astonishing. 2 wonderful goals. 1 direct free kick, 1 chest and then volley goal, and just making things happen. He had a chance to get a hat-trick, but unfortunately was unable to. But we do win the game 2-1 and now progress, I think, to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. I think that's the round that we've progressed into now. But now it is time to sim the only sim game of this episode, and it's away from home against Watford in the Barclays Premier League. A win is needed here. If we don't win, all the games really in the BPL this episode. We're probably out of the title race. Already 5 points behind Chelsea. We're on to a good start though. Luis Suarez has scored again, this time from the penalty spot to give us the lead. And N'Golo Kante has then since doubled our lead into the second half. With 10 minutes to go, it looks as if we're going to hold on then to this result away from home against Watford. And we've sort of cheated the system there really, because we don't have to face Marcelo Groa, who is our kryptonite really in this series, and in Wigan Career as well, but thankfully we don't have to face him. After that game though, you can see how the top scorers, assists and clean sheets pages are looking. In terms of our representatives, Riyad Mahrez is second top goal scorer in the league, with Embolo there sat in 7th. Mahrez has sort of quietly gone about his business. 12 goals this season is pretty decent, although a decent chunk of those were from the penalty spot. In terms of assists, and we actually have the top assist maker in the league, and that is N'Golo Kante with 8. We've also got Danny Drinkwater and Bruno Perez there in the top 15. Then when it comes to clean sheets, we've actually got Swansea's goalkeeper, Remy Roux, is the top clean sheet goalkeeper, if you like, in the league. 13 for him. Then Rob Elliott, Asmir Begovic, Joel Robles and Loris Karius there sat in 5th. Kasper Schmeichel is also further down the list as well, because he has a few BPL clean sheets to his name this season. Now though, it is time to get into the third game of today's episode, and the second played one, and it is against Arsenal. A big BPL game here. This is a titanic one, because our record against Arsenal isn't exactly the best in this series, and this comes of course before we play Manchester United later on in the episode, so we're really up against it to keep up with Chelsea and maybe bridge the gap to them this episode. Here you can see the squad in the background. Once again, Sisto is back in the side, but Maxi Arnold is back after his long-term injury. It's finally time to welcome him back into the squad. Jeff Schlupp and Daniel Amati are also in for this game, but Maxi Arnold, he's the main change for this one. It's been a very long time since we saw him. Thankfully though, the scoreline has remained at 0-0 here, because there was a very good chance there for Alexis Sanchez to give Arsenal the lead, but Maxi Arnold getting involved straight away there, providing a chance for Pione Sisto after cutting inside from the left-hand side. Luis Suarez has now got a free kick opportunity in the 39th minute. He's laid it off to Riyad Mahrez, who goes for the long shot, and a wonderful save from Petr Cech there, the Czech goalkeeper in the Arsenal net. That was an incredible one-handed save right on the edge of half-time, and Luis Suarez actually brought down Aymeric Laporte not once, but twice here and now into the area. Arsenal creating their own problems. He's laid off to Embolo, and again, Petr Cech is up to the task. Incredible stuff. What a save from Petr Cech, but Arsenal pressing the self-destruct button. They've done so again. Sisto winning the ball off Aaron Ramsey. It's fallen to Luis Suarez. It's saved by Cech, but it still bobbles in. Cech gets a hand to it once again, but this time he can't keep it out. Aaron Ramsey with the fatal error that has led to Arsenal conceding. Pione Sisto doing all the donkey work, giving it to Luis Suarez, and it's a simple finish. Although one that looked a little bit nervy at one stage, but it's 1-0 to us. A very difficult game though this still. Riyad Mahrez now cutting in from the right hand side, going past Kieran Gibbs onto his favourite left foot. He unleashes the strike. It's deflected in off Per Mertesacker, and it's 2-0. And we've scored we've scored twice in 6 minutes even. It would have been even greater if we'd scored 6 in 6 minutes. We've scored 2 though in 6 minutes once again against the North London side. This time it's Arsenal in the BPL. Per Mertesacker with a pretty poor effort though of blocking that shot. And that deflection has completely outfoxed Petr Cech there, and it is now 2-0. We've now just got to control the game, but awful challenge from Nicolas N'Koulou, and Alexis Sanchez advantage is given. Arsenal attacking down the left-hand side. It's into the box, and Welbeck somehow has missed. But I was just saying we need to control the game, in an awful miscontrol from Nicolas N'Koulou. He's got a yellow card for the challenge on Alexis Sanchez. Could have been worse. We've just got to avoid stupid mistakes like that. Now towards the end of the game, Petr Cech getting another save on the board after Jeff Schlupp was set away there by Maxi Arnold. It's great to have the midfield maestro back in the squad, setting up goals and setting up chances. But as you can see, the game is over. A good 2-0 win there. A very difficult game. We've now completed almost all of the challenges that we set ourselves at the end of this episode, at the start of this episode, sorry, which was basically just win every single BPL game this episode in order to challenge Chelsea at the top of the table. We've beaten Watford in a sim. We've now beaten Arsenal. That was a very difficult task. We've done that though in a played game, and now we've got to go to Old Trafford and beat Manchester United. In the background you can see some growth there for a few youth academy players, but growth in overall there for Frederick Riex, which is nice. Pione Sisto is also very close to going up and overall. But now it is time for the final game in today's episode against Manchester United at the Theatre of Dreams. And going into this one, Luis Suarez has 4 goals in his last 3 BPL matches. That's 6 goals in 4 in all competitions. because obviously he got 2 against Tottenham as well. There was squad in the background. Sisto again starting because, of course, he was last episode's player of the episode alongside Riyad Mahrez in terms of wingers. Maxi Arnold starting again after that long-term injury. First chance going to us, though, and it's a foul in the area, and it's a blatant penalty. Marcos Rojo bringing down N'Golo Kante from behind after the reverse through ball from Luis Suarez. Suarez will now step up and take the penalty himself to try and give us the lead, and he has. He's converted the penalty, sending Victor Valdez the wrong way, and it's a perfect start to this game. This incredibly important game, a must-win game in the BPL if we're to have any chance of winning this title. In the 12th minute, Manchester United have gifted us that lead, and we'll certainly accept a gift in these circumstances. We're going to need them, and Luis Suarez has scored again. That's now 7 in 5. Right at the end of the half, though, and Loris Karius at the other end called into action. A wonderful save there with his feet to deny Neymar, and then an even more spectacular one to deny a Wayne Rooney long shot right at the end of the half. We've somehow survived that peppering on our goal from Manchester United, and into the second half, Maxi Arnold forcing a save out of Victor Valdez. That was a one-on-one in comparison to most Maxi Arnold's long shots, but the resultant corner is going to be swung in from Riyad Mahrez. It's toward Antonio Rudiger, and it's in again. Antonio Rudiger has doubled our lead. The man who got man of the match against Arsenal has now scored and is probably well on his way to getting man of the match in this episode as well. He leaps higher than anyone else. Victor Valdez is in no man's land, but in truth he wouldn't have even saved it if he was in his net, right in the top corner, and it is 2-0. Manchester United throwing people forwards now. They need a goal. Jamie Vardy was off the bench and using his electric pace down the left-hand side. He sees Mbolo in the centre, and Mbolo now makes it a historic victory, as it turns out. If it stays the same, it's now 3-0. It's gone from a pretty decent win to now being an extremely comfortable one. Mbolo beating Victor Valdez there at his near post to make it 3-0, and those saves from Loris Karius in the first half proving to be even more important now. It could have even been 2-1 to United in injury time of the first half. We ended up sort of keeping hold of our lead at the end of that first half thanks to Loris Karius, and then we extended it in the second half. Antonio Rudiger does get man of the match there. Incredible rating though as well for Loris Karius, and a 7.92 for Luis Suarez after he of course got the ball rolling with that penalty in the 12th minute. Antonio Rudiger though with 2 man of the matches in this episode. Now it's time to decide on your guys' player of the episode in this one, and there's quite a lot of choices, I suppose, in terms of real standout performers. A lot less like last episode, or much unlike last episode, where there were a lot of players who performed well in one game but not consistently throughout the whole episode. This time we've got a lot of choice, I suppose, in that instance. The first option for you guys is Luis Suarez, who of course scored twice against Spurs. He then scored once in a sim against Watford, scored once against Arsenal, and also scored against Manchester United. So that's an incredible haul of 5 goals in an episode for Luis Suarez. He is the first contender. The second contender is Antonio Rudiger, who of course got 2 man of the match performances, 2 clean sheets in those final 2 games against Arsenal and Manchester United, and of course scored 1. So an incredible record for him this episode as well. 2 clean sheets, 2 man of the matches, and 1 goal for Antonio Rudiger. He is certainly a standout performer as well. Then after that we have got Loris Karius, who again got 2 clean sheets and provided some fantastic saves in that Manchester United game. And finally we have got Breel Donald Mbolo, who was running his heart out all episode. Got, I think, an assist in this game as well, and also, of course, scored at the end of the Manchester United game. There'll be a straw poll in the description for you guys to vote on your player of the episode. In the background, though, you can see the table and how it's been affected. We've actually closed the gap to Chelsea by 2 points, so only 3 points now to the top of the table after an astonishing episode. If you have enjoyed it, though, feel free to hit the likes button, subscribe if you're new around here as well, and comment about enjoying the video if you enjoyed it that much. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.
No, that's not me. Act like